and thank you so much for joining us for this discussion. My name is Rahab, and it's always a joy to have you joining us. In today's conversation, we have a man who has gone through the valleys and peaks of life, and I'm sure his story is one that will inspire us today. His name is Nelson Karanja. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
Now, you're a CEO of Global Oak Media Solutions. You're also a director at St. Paul's Institute of Lifelong Learning. But who is Nelson Karanja?
Wow. That's always a tough question. But I would say Nelson Karanja is, first of all, a human being, a lover of God, a lover of life. And I would also say that I am a parent and I have grown through life knowing that this life is a gift. So that has made me the human being I am. That's why I insist on that. But other than that, I am a life coach. I'm a motivational speaker. I am also a writer because I enjoy writing. I would also say I'm an actor. I do try to act. Don't ask me for how many movies are out there, but uh, I do like acting and so many other things. But I would also say Nelson is more like a student of life. Yes, I like understanding how life works. So,
From your introduction, you're a man of many hats, and I'm wondering, how do you manage being a father, being a boss, being all these things that you've mentioned?
um, I think it is just acknowledging that God has given us as human beings the capacity that is above that of an animal, for example. Uh, so we've been given to be able to manage different things in life, and that comes from knowing that we have responsibilities that
Yes.
we've given. So the ability to know that this is the time for this, time to be in the office and manage people, time to be a friend to the same people in terms of like counseling and walking the journey with them. Also being at home, knowing that I'm not going to carry my work home to interfere with family. I think it is part of the gift God has given us as human beings.
Wow, you're a believer from what you,
I
from
am.
your statements.
I believe, really. I believe that it is in God that we live and move and have our being.
Sure.
I have no apologies to make about that.
Amen.
Yes.
Now, you mentioned about being a life coach. How did that come about?
I would say actually that started from when I somebody helped me over something, and I realized that all along I didn't have anybody to point me in the right direction. And I found that maybe that if I could just give a background, like when I finished my university education, when I got my first degree, I stayed for about 3 years without a job, and I saw things in a very different way, where I believed the economy is not right for me to get a job. I don't know anybody in Nairobi. I don't have probably the degree that people employers are looking for. So I had all these reasons why things are not going my way. But I found somebody who changed my mind. And from there, I started realizing why it is really important to have somebody pointing you in the right direction. And I found if somebody could do that for me, when it says freely you're given, free to give. So I felt perhaps it's also important for me to be able to, if I find somebody willing, because not everybody is willing to be pointed in a certain direction, but if
Yes.
somebody is looking for the way and I'm able to point them in the right direction, then I would do that.
And do you have a team that you're mentoring at the moment?
I think not a team. Most of the mentoring is really at individual level. So I have different people in different phases of life. So because I don't think I've ever really like apart from speaking to different groups,
Yes.
but when it comes to mentoring and walking the journey, every person is an individual. So I do have different people that at any given time I'm walking with them in the journey. So yes, I do have people that I would call a team, but not like together as
Okay,
a group.
wonderful.
Yes.
Now, most of the youth in our generation consider success as actually a destination where you have probably a house structure, you're married, you have a good vehicle. To you, what is success, and do you actually consider yourself successful?
Um, Actually, that question has different levels to it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
On one hand, success is a journey. You are constantly walking and you are changing, becoming somebody different at any given point. Yeah. But I would also say success is not something you do. It's something you become, you accept.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, yes, I'm a believer,
Mm-hmm.
and I choose to see it that God has created us to be successful, and therefore He has planted success within us.
Mm-hmm.
So, in that aspect, I consider myself successful because I can't say I'm successful if I'm having a lot of money today and tomorrow I'm not successful if that money is gone. No, success is a state that I am in, it's a state of being, and that comes from accepting what God has created me to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm successful by simply by virtue of the fact that I believe in God who provides everything for me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got very little to do whether I have a car today or
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Yeah.
So I see success in that level. But also, success is a journey in that we continuously improve ourselves as we pursue excellence. So that is probably how I look at that.
Wow. Now that you're a CEO at Global Lock Media, before we even talk about how you began this business, why Global Lock?
Global Oak actually was born out of a passion that I had from when I was young. I was always interested in creative things like telling stories. I was always a storyteller. I liked writing, compositions, and all that. But as I grew on, I realized I do have a passion for things like films and all those things that actually are in the creative industry.
Mm-hmm.
But Global Oak also came as a result of seeing gaps that are in the industry. So Global Oak Media Solutions exist to provide solutions or to support the creative industry. Specifically, we say we speak film and music.
Mm-hmm.
So we would want to develop talent to see people actually rise up and
Mm-hmm.
become successful, whether they
Mm.
are musicians, whether they are performers, producers, or people in that industry.
Mm-hmm.
So it is to support the film and music industry so that it can actually grow to exploit the potential that we know it actually has.
And now talking about, the film and music industry, is this something you pursued as a course in school?
Actually, that's the interesting thing. I don't think I've ever been like in a class to be taught film and music production.
Wow.
My training, all since I was young, was in finance
Mm-hmm.
and operations management. I've worked as an accountant. I've worked in uh, various aspects of the corporate entities. But this is one of those things that are just in you, and you know you belong here and you
Mm-hmm.
want to do so. I am pretty much self-taught, even though along the way I have gathered maybe like the way you just join short courses
Mm-hmm.
to develop yourself in one thing or the other.
Yeah.
But in terms of like going to school to get a degree or that, I haven't done. It is more of things that I actually kind of just pick as I go along in my life.
Wow. And now, when you are talking about the Global Lock Media Solutions Company, tell us about the journey from where you started and where you are at the
Hmm.
moment.
Around 2015 June, even though the company was registered back in year 2012, it just remained that a paper document you have. The way we do, you register a company, you think you have money, you
By
realize you
faith.
don't have by faith.
Yeah.
So it stayed as a document for a couple of years
Yes.
until around 2015 when
Mm-hmm.
I felt like now it's time to actually put it together.
Mm-hmm.
And it started with just a small team somewhere in Hurlingham, and we started off with a small team that were supposed to do production of both film and music, but it lasted for about 1 year, from 2015 to about 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And then a small company started to do. it died. It went bankrupt,
Okay.
and
So.
that meant that I had to again start again building it from scratch. And it was a very valuable lesson, and I thank God that it came early on in the life of the company, because I learned what it is to actually start something and watch it go down the drain. And then
Mm-hmm.
you have again to now decide, do you want to start again,
Mm-hmm.
or is that the end of it?
Mm-hmm.
And remember, 2015 June, that time I was working again in St. Paul's University,
Mm-hmm.
and I had resigned to actually go and pursue that interest. But when that collapsed, I decided, okay, this is a business. Just because it has collapsed doesn't mean that I'm a failure.
Sure.
And that takes me back to the aspect of, I consider that I'm successful not because of what is happening around me.
Mm-hmm.
So the business collapses doesn't mean I'm unsuccessful. So I changed and I moved the business from an expensive place, and I went to Gong, where I was paying a fraction of what I started.
Mm-hmm.
So
Strategy.
yeah, so I decided, let me move, let me change a few things, and that's how now I started again rebuilding it now.
Wow. So right now you're at Gong.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
the studio
Mm-hmm.
for film and music,
Mm-hmm.
that one is in Gong. But along the way, we also diversified, because you also learn on the job that you can't survive on just one thing. And we also started now selling film equipment. So we import film equipment, be it lights, tripods, all those things that would support the film and music industry.
Mm-hmm.
So we import and sell, and for that, we opened a branch in town where we actually sell that on somewhere on Moy Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
So we are in two locations currently.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Apart from the challenges you mentioned, are there other challenges that you have faced in this business?
Um, Challenges are not just financial. It's also challenges of like getting the right mix of personnel. When
Mm-hmm.
you're a young company, you got to balance. So getting employees that have all the qualifications you want versus the kind of money that you have at your disposal. So the challenge of striking that balance is real.
Mm-hmm.
And also, one of the other things that small companies have had to struggle with is that one of almost becoming like a training ground. You get fresh people,
Yes.
you train them, hoping that when their skills are now ripe, that
Mm-hmm.
now you will walk the journey. But when their skills are right, then they are poached by bigger companies,
Oh.
and there's nothing you can do about that. That's part of
Mm-hmm.
life.
Mm-hmm.
So challenges like that exist, but you just learn how to live one day at a time and do the best that you can
Mm-hmm.
under those circumstances.
Wow. They say when you see a successful man, there must be somebody behind there.
Yes.
But what has been your greatest support system?
Mm, the first one, of course, is my belief in God, but closely following that, I would say family. It's actually not just in terms of, it's not it's not rhetorical, or it's not just something, it's not cliche to say that your spouse, if they support you, that you will be okay. I would say I have drawn a lot of support from my wife,
Mm-hmm.
uh, who has been there from the beginning. She saw the company collapse. She's part of the parcel, the people who would tell me, it's not the end of the world. Pick
Wow.
yourself up, start again.
Wow.
As long as your vision is not dead,
Mm-hmm.
then your company is still there,
Mm-hmm.
just not in the form that you would want to see it,
Mm-hmm.
but still in your heart. So having somebody like that to encourage me along that leader has
Mm-hmm.
been very good, and of course the wider family. So that has been very good.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is like having people that you can talk to, even in the professional life,
Mm-hmm.
where you're able to talk to people and let them know that, okay, this has not worked well. What would you advise?
Mm-hmm.
So having friends that you can talk to
Mm-hmm.
and talk to them in a a lot about business,
Yes.
that really helps.
Wow. And I hope we all get those kind of spouses that, motivate us and keep us moving, even when the journey is tough. Now that you're an employer, so many employers complain of half baked graduates. What has your experience been as an employer?
I wish. I wish it was just an empty complaint. I wish it was something that employers just like to talk about,
Mm-hmm.
but it is real. Um, I can't. It's not just in global look. I've also sat in interview panels for many companies.
Mm-hmm.
I've helped companies recruit people. And
Mm-hmm.
what happens is we have a lot of graduates who are very good at presenting themselves at the interview stage.
Mm-hmm.
So, but once they start the job, you realize all the marks they scored were actually theoretical.
Wow.
And in this kind of industry,
Mm-hmm.
when we started, I realized we were dwelling too much on maybe like somebody has a degree or they have a diploma and all
Mm-hmm.
that. And
Mm-hmm.
you can see somebody has scored an A, and they have first class upper or second class upper in degree.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the A's was in camera work, and you give them a camera and
They
they do not even know
know
the
how to
difference
operate.
between setting ISO
Mm-hmm.
or shutter speed. They actually have no clue. So it's theoretical. So it has been a bit of a challenge, uh, but it's part of what is there. So people are lacking the actual skills to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a real life situation we are facing,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, that's pretty much there.
Now, marketing is a very important component of any thriving business. And now that you were able to bounce back and you're still there, I actually consider you a successful entrepreneur. What is the secret?
Um, Let me just say, when it comes to marketing is that ability to present what it is you have.
Mm-hmm.
I always say it does not matter how good your product or your service is. If nobody out there knows you have it,
Mm-hmm.
um, then you might as well not have it.
Mm-hmm.
So that knowledge that somebody out there needs to know that you exist, you
Mm-hmm.
have what they are looking for, that's important. But let me say, to really be good in sales and marketing, you got to put yourself in the mind of the person that you are targeting. You got to know what exactly are they looking for. And I have made it every time I am selling, whether it is a product or a service, I would never sell something that I know is faulty just so that I can make a sale. I would rather tell somebody this thing is broken, I'm not selling. If they insist on buying it, then
Mm-hmm.
at least they know this one
Yes.
has this problem. Why? Because I would want them to benefit from my product.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, the company is about providing solutions. So why would I sell somebody something that I know will not help them? But if they grow, they come back. So to me, it is that one of uh, providing somebody with something they are really looking for. So if the client is happy, then my work is easier because they will
Yeah.
come back. And we
Sure.
always say a happy client comes back
Yeah.
double
Mm-hmm.
because they will bring somebody else.
Yeah.
If you lie to them, then you're likely to lose even the few that you have. Yeah?
It's
So
true.
to me, marketing is crucial. It is about empathy, realizing that the other person is actually looking for something. Nobody spends money just for the sake of spending. When somebody comes to us, they are looking, whether if they come and they want to produce music, they are actually looking for that music to help them either spread a message or even advance their career. So if I know we can't give them that,
Mm-hmm.
then I would rather not even go into that.
Wow.
But I do want them to benefit.
Mm.
That way they will come back.
Now, a statement has gained popularity in the recent past. Pesa kidogo ushaanza kufanya vitu here and there. And true, money and power changes people. What has kept you humble?
Maybe because I have not gotten that enough to enough to get into my head.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe that people change because there is something in them that really wants to change. Because no matter how much money you get, you realize if your intention is to do something constructive, something that will actually help somebody other than yourself, then you will find you never have all that money that you can actually just go using, unilaterally or just spending it anyhow. So in that case, probably I don't think I've gotten enough to actually do all the things I would want to do,
Mm-hmm.
touch all the lives I would want to touch, and then have enough to go destroying myself. So I think Yeah, maybe I've not received that much. Yes.
Wow. It has been a tough year for many people. People are actually saying it was just January, February, Corona, and then December.
Yes.
What has your year been like?
Actually, other than the fact that Corona has really cost lives, I have friends who have actually passed away. So that's painful. Uh, and really knowing that it is a global disruption, that has really been very, very hard to really comprehend. But on the personal front, I also realize that this is probably one of the years where God has been very gracious to me. For starters, it's also the year where I came back to St. Paul's after 5 years of
Wow.
a break. So, and I have seen, even though things were rough, I also found that it's also the time that Global Oak opened our town branch
Wow.
when we formalized our sale of equipment. So it has been a difficult year, but I've also realized that it's also the year where we've enjoyed the grace of God. So to me, I do not want to consider it a lost year. It's not been a lost year. It is a year of God's blessings. And if anybody is alive and you are still, you're still breathing, this has been a good year just
Wow.
by virtue of that one is alive. Yeah. So that's how I see it.
Well, congratulations, and we wish you best of luck in the coming years.
Thank you.
Where do you see the company in the next 1 year?
The 1 year, okay, in business, 1 year is not a very long time. So I would lie that I wouldn't want to lie that there is going to be a very dramatic change in 1 year. But there are a couple of things that I would want to see us do. I would want us to focus a lot on production. I would want to see films, especially short films that we can submit in film festivals. Also in the area of short courses, like offering courses in film and music production, After Effects, and all those things that make films what they really are. That is something that would help us produce content that can go on the global platform, not just local.
Yeah.
So that is what I'm aiming for in the next 1 year. And by God's grace, I hope that we will accomplish part of it at least. Yes.
It will be accomplished.
Thank you.
What are some of the lessons that you have learned in life and you hold so dear as a person?
Well, I think one of the things I've learned is that it can get worse. Whatever it is you think is bad,
Yes.
it can get worse. I remember last year when a lot of companies were struggling with one thing or another. Uh, Nobody thought that a year could come where everything would be crowded. So things became so much worse than what a lot of companies thought. So I would say the very first lesson in life is that it can get worse. So you got to be prepared and know what how would you tackle it if it went worse than where it is. So that to me has helped me to keep looking for better ways of doing things. But I've also learned that it is not all about chasing money. It's about living in this moment. That I don't deny myself completely everything in the hope that tomorrow will be better. So I've got to strike a balance because when for example something like death comes, you stop where you are. It doesn't matter how many big dreams you had. So you stop right there. So you kind of have to put things in perspective and realize what are the priorities in life. Like family, you cannot put family on hold and say that once you've done everything else, that now you come back and have family. You realize when these things strike, family is really the only people you have at that particular point. So to me, these are some of the lessons I feel have been dear to me. But also I've learned that I need to continue developing myself every day. I said at the beginning, I'm a student of life. I like understanding people, knowing what actually drives them. I like learning some new skill. So I continually develop myself.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much that I may make money out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's just knowing that perhaps that skill
Mm-hmm.
would add value to my own life and also
Yeah.
somebody else.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Where can we find you? Global Lock Media Solutions.
Global Look itself, we got a studio near Gong Town,
Mm-hmm.
a place called Vet or Joanco. Also, the sale of equipment is done in town on Moy Avenue,
Mm-hmm.
Sour Mall, third floor.
Mm-hmm.
But myself, like we said at the beginning, I work in St. Paul's University, and I'm the director for the Institute of Lifelong Learning and also the Enterprise Unit. So in terms of finding me, if you come to Global Oak, it's unlikely you'll find me. I've got other people doing that for me, but I still remain a director of the company.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of day-to-day availability,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in St. Paul's University, Lemuru.
Wonderful. We'll tag your social media handles on this video. In just a minute, as a life coach, can you talk to the youth as we go to the next year?
Um, the youth, I would just want to say it's really important that you realize your life is your life. And I told somebody recently that the day you wake up and realize nobody is coming from out there to come and lift you out of your problems, there's something that only you, can actually do. And it is not in the realm of magic that you know that it's something so difficult. It is that realization that you have responsibilities, that your life is your responsibility. There's something you can do about it, whether it is picking up a new skill, whether it is working a little bit harder, pushing yourself beyond that comfort level that you have settled in. And I think if the youth wake up to that reality that they can actually change their lives, I think that would really make a big difference. So, yes, that perhaps is what I would say.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this discussion, learned quite a number of things. And I hope that you, as a viewer, have also been able to capture something from this discussion. Thank you so much again for making time for us and watching this discussion. Do have yourselves a blessed time. Happy New Year. Stay focused. And success is not a destination we've had, it's a journey. From me, it's a goodbye for now. Thank you.